We are approaching mere days until College Football 26 drops, and the ratings for the game may have just leaked, and they're a little wild. I'm breaking down some of the biggest leaks for the ratings, including the top 20 players, some of the highest rated freshmen in the game, like Bryce Underwood, and top offensive and defensive players on some of the best rated teams in the game. Oh, and there's some other stuff that you'll see a little bit later in the video. Now, keep in mind that these ratings are leaks and are kind of subject to change. A big thanks to teamcrafters.net for kind of building this roster database for College Football 26 that I'm referencing in this video. Let's take a quick look at the top 10 fastest players in College Football 26, starting off with UCLA's Roderick Pleasant, a corner with 99 speed and 99 acceleration. But tying him for the fastest player in the game is Arkansas's wide receiver Jordan Anthony, who has the same speed and acceleration. Just behind them is going to be Darian Brown, the wide receiver transfer going to LSU this offseason, 99 speed and 98 acceleration for him. South Carolina's Nick Harbor is a devastating force in College Football 25, and I think he'll be the same in 26. He's got 99 speed and 97 acceleration, while LSU's wide receiver Jelani Watkins comes in with 98 speed and 98 acceleration. We move on to Pitt's wide receiver Che Mumbuko. I'm probably mispronouncing that, I apologize, but 98 speed, 96 acceleration for him. Texas A&M's corner Julian Humphrey has a 98 speed with 95 acceleration. Penn State's King Mack, a strong safety with 98 speed, 94 acceleration. Notre Dame's Ben Minich at free safety, 97 speed, 94 acceleration. And then wrapping up our top 10, Kentucky's wide receiver Kendrick Law, 97 speed, 92 acceleration. If you never played South Carolina, you were lucky, but if you did, you know that Nick Harbor was killing everybody last year who tried to stop him. And with that kind of speed at 6'5", 235 pounds, he's an insane problem to match up against every single time. But I found a few other players that are kind of similar to Harbor in a way that might be just as tough. Minnesota has a wide receiver, Malachi Coleman, who is 6'5", 195 pounds with 96 speed and 93 acceleration. Cal has a wide receiver named Desmond James, 6'2", 195 with 97 speed, 97 acceleration. And then Western Kentucky has a wide receiver named Quincy Burrows, 6'3", 213, 96 speed, but only 91 acceleration. But keep an eye on those guys. LSU, though, also has a guy named DJ Pickett that will be an elite corner to have on your roster to stop some of these guys. And he's a freshman at 6'4". This corner is an 80 overall with 95 speed and 95 acceleration. He is a guy that you are going to hope to see in the transfer portal. But speaking of speed, these are the top fastest running backs in College Football 26 at launch. We have a tie at the top with Wake Forest's Damon Claiborne and Fresno State's Rayshawn Luke. Both of these guys coming in with 96 speed and 95 acceleration. Louisville's Isaac Brown has 95 speed with 97 acceleration. Kansas State's Dylan Edwards has 95 speed, 98 acceleration, while Arizona State's Raleek Brown has 95 speed and 97 acceleration. LSU's Caden Durham, they are loaded this year in the game, 95 speed, 97 excel for him. Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love, a favorite from last year with 95 speed and a matching acceleration in 95. SMU gets Chris Johnson Jr. transferring from Miami with 94 speed, 97 excel. And then TCU's Jeremy Payne with 94 speed, 96 excel, and Penn State's Nick Singleton, 94 speed, 93 excel for him. And if you find yourself enjoying this video, did you know that 65% of the people that watch these videos aren't actually subscribed? I'm trying to reach 300,000 subscribers before the end of the year here on YouTube, and I'd love for you to subscribe to help me reach my goal. Now let's talk about the top 20 rated players in the game though, and spoiler alert, there is not a single 99 overall in the game at launch. Now one half of your cover athlete, Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith, comes in at a 98 overall, being the highest rated player in the game, but the second highest rated player is also his teammate at free safety Caleb Downs at a 96 overall. Texas comes in here at 3 with middle linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. at a 95, but we also see that Ryan Williams from Alabama, TJ Parker, the left end from Clemson, Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, all chiming in at a 95 as well. Up next, we move on to the 94 overalls. We have Alabama's left tackle Caden Proctor, Utah's right tackle Spencer Fano, we have South Carolina's right end Dylan Stewart, Tennessee's corner Jermon McCoy, ASU's wide receiver Jordan Tyson, and then Clemson's defensive tackle Peter Woods, all to 94 overall. And then rounding out our list 13 through 20, we have 93 overalls here. We have Vanderbilt's tight end Eli Stowers, Indiana's wide receiver Elijah Surratt, Duke's corner Chandler Rivers, Pitt's right outside linebacker Kyle Lewis, Texas Tech's left end David Bailey, Oregon strong safety Dylan Theneman, Ole Miss's right outside linebacker Suntarine Perkins, and Penn State's halfback Nick Singleton. Now, there are a couple others that are 93 overalls, but we sort of had to cut it off here at 20. But if you paid close attention to that entire list of players, there's actually no real mention of a single quarterback on that list. But let's take a look at the top 20 quarterbacks in the game by overall rating. Now, there's a three-way tie at first place here at a 92 overall for Clemson's Cade Klubnik, LSU's Garrett Nussmeier, and Penn State's Drew Allar. The next tier of QBs following in at a 91 overall are going to be South Carolina's Lenore Sellers, Miami's Carson Beck, Oklahoma's John Mateer, and Arizona State's Sam Levitt. We then have three quarterbacks hanging out at a 90 overall with Navy's Blake Horvath, Texas' Arch Manning, and Florida's DJ Lagway. Four more quarterbacks then come in the 89 overall with SMU's Kevin Jennings, Duke's Darian Mensah, K-State's Avery Johnson, and then Illinois' Luke Altmaier. And then we have a whole bunch of people at 88 overall. We have UCLA's Nico Iamaleava. I'm probably butchering his name. We just know he transferred a million times. Iowa State's Rocco Becht, BYU's Jake Retzlaff, Baylor's Sawyer Robertson, and then Colorado's Caden Salter, the transfer from Liberty. And then finally here at 20, we have TCU's Josh Hoover at an 87 overall. And I know you're probably wondering, well, what about this guy? What about this guy? There are honorable mentions for Nebraska's Dylan Raiola, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, and Kansas's Jalen Daniels, all coming in at 87 overall as well. But before we jump into the highest rated players across each of the preseason top 25 teams as rated by ESPN, do you enjoy playing fantasy sports like me? If you use code GGB with today's sponsor Underdog, they've got some big bonuses for you. My personal favorite game to play on Underdog is their Pick'em. Each week of the college football or NFL season, I just pick higher or lower on a few stats that I think a player might hit or might not hit. And when you use code GGB, they'll even give you a free pick to make it just that much easier. Plus, you get up to $1,000 in bonus credits just for using my code. Now, you can find my link down below in the description to use code GGB when you sign up with Underdog. I'll even pick a few of you to do a special fantasy football draft in Underdog this NFL season too. So just make sure to use code GGB for the bonus credits and get that free pick too. Now, with ESPN just dropping their top 25 rankings, I wanted to give you all a look at the three best offensive and defensive players on each of the top 25 teams. For Nebraska, their top offensive players are going to be wide receiver Dane Kay at an 88 overall, Dylan Raiola at an 87 overall, their starting quarterback, and then Emmett Johnson, their halfback, at an 87 overall. Their top defensive players would be Sierra Wright, a corner at 88 overall, Marquez Watson-Trent, a right outside linebacker, 87 overall, and then Marquez Buford Jr. at an 84 overall at free safety. For number 24, Arizona State, their top three offensive players are Jordan Tyson, their 94 overall wide receiver, Sam Levitt, the 91 overall QB, and then Kanye Udo, their running back, 88 overall. On the defensive side for Arizona State, they have Xavier Alford at a 91 overall for strong safety, Keyshawn Elliott, a right outside linebacker at 86 overall, and then CJ Fight, an 85 overall defensive tackle. Moving on to number 23, Missouri, their top three offensive players are Caden Green, a left guard at a 92, Ahmad Hardy, a halfback at 92, and then Kevin Coleman Jr., a wide receiver, 90 overall. Their top defensive players would be Jalen Catalan, a free safety at 91 overall, Dalen Carnell, an 88 overall, and then Josiah Trotter, an 86 overall middle linebacker. Arkansas's top three offensive players are Fernando Carmona, a left guard at 92, Omega Blake, a wide receiver at 87, and then Talon Green, the dynamic quarterback, at 86 overall. On the defensive side for them, Jaheim Singletary, a corner at 83, Philip Lee, a left end at 83, and then Larry Wirth, a strong safety at 82 overall. Kansas State's top three offensive players would be Avery Johnson, their QB, at 89, Dylan Edwards, their halfback, at 89, and Garrett Oakley, their tight end, at 85. Their top three defensive players would be Austin Romaine, a middle linebacker, at a 92, Damian Alalio, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, a defensive tackle at 87, and then BJ Payne, an 86 overall strong safety. SMU's top three offensive players would be Logan Parr, a left guard at 90, Kevin Jennings, their QB, at 89, and RJ Maryland, a tight end, at 89. On the defensive side, it would be Isaiah Nkwobia at a 91, a strong safety, Ahmad Moses, a free safety, at 89, and then Cameron Robertson, a left end, at 85. USC would have their top three offensive players as Makai Lemon, a wide receiver, at 90, Jacoby Lane, a wide receiver, at 89, Eli Sanders, a halfback, at 87. And then on the defensive side, DJ Harvey, their corner, at 88, Kamari Ramsey, a free safety, at 88, and then Eric Gentry, a right outside linebacker, at 84. Jumping back into the SEC, we have Florida with their top three offensive players being Jake Slaughter, their center, at 92, DJ Lagway, their QB, at 90, and Eugene Wilson III, their wide receiver, at 89. And then on defense, we have Tyreek Sapp, a left end, at 90, Caleb Banks, a defensive tackle, at 90, and then Jordan Castell, a strong safety, at 85. Michigan brings their top three offensive players with Giovanni El Hadi, a left guard, at 91, Justice Haynes, a halfback, at 87, and then Greg Greg Crippen, a center, at 84. And then on defense, they got some dogs here. They have Rod Moore, free safety, at 92, Rayshawn Benny, defensive tackle, at 91, and Derek Moore, a right end, at 91. Oklahoma's top 3 offensive players, I believe, will be 2 transfers here for 2 out of the 3, with John Mateer, a QB, at 91, Jaden Knott, a halfback, at 90, and then Deion Burks, a wide receiver, at 88. And then on defense, they have Robert Spears-Jennings, a free safety, at 89, R. Mason Thomas, a right end, at 89, and then Eli Bowen, a corner, at 88. For South Carolina, their top 3 offensive players will be Lenore Sellers, their QB, at 91, Rajul Faison, an 89 overall at halfback, and then Trevon Ball, a right guard, at 85. On the defensive side for South Carolina, Dylan Stewart, a right end, at 94, Jalen Kilgore, a strong safety, at 89, and then Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy at an 86 for the defensive tackle. Auburn at 14 would have their top 3 offensive players here as Eric Singleton Jr., the wide receiver, at 92, Cam Coleman, another wide receiver, at 89, and then Connor Liu, their center, at 88. And then on defense, they would have Keldrick Falk, a left end, at 93, Rayon Strader, a corner, at 87, and then Kyan Lee, an 85 overall corner. Ole Miss would give you their top 3 offensive players as Damian Taylor, their halfback, at 89, Luke Haas, a tight end, at 89, and then Dejon Stribling, a wide receiver, at 88. On defense, they would have Suntarine Perkins, the outside linebacker, at 93, Xavier Harris, a defensive tackle, at 88, and then Kapina Gushikin, an 87 overall corner. LSU has, in my opinion, one of the nastiest teams in the game, just from ratings and overalls, I think, across the board. And their top 3 offensive players be Garrett Nussmeier, their QB, at 92, Aaron Anderson, a wide receiver, at 89, Caden Durham, our halfback, at 89. And then on defense, Harold Perkins Jr. at 91 for an outside linebacker, Ashton Stamps, a corner, at 91, and then Mansour Delane, a corner, for a 90 overall. Clemson's top 3 offensive players be Cade Klubnik at 92, Blake Miller, a right tackle, at 92, and Antonio Williams, a wide receiver, at 90. And then on defense, they would have TJ Parker, a left end, at 95, Peter Woods, a defensive tackle, at 94, and Avion Terrell, a corner, at 92 overall. Tennessee's top offensive players would be Miles Kitselman, a tight end, at 90, Stark Thomas, a halfback, at 87, and Chris Brazell II, a wide receiver, at 85. And then on the defensive side, Jermod McCoy, at 94, Joshua Josephs, a right end, at 89, and Ricky Gibson III, a corner, at 87. The Miami Hurricanes would have their top 3 offensive players as Francis Mawagoa, the right tackle, at 93, Carson Beck, the QB, at 91, and Mark Fletcher Jr., the halfback, at 88. And then on defense, they'd have Reuben Bain Jr. at his right end, at 92, Charles Brantley, a corner, at 88, and then OJ Frederick Jr., a corner, at 87. Texas A&M would have their top 3 offensive players as Armaj Reed Adams, a right guard, at 93, Kevin Concepcion, a 90 overall wide receiver, and Le'Veon Moss, a halfback, at 89. And then Torian York on defense would be their outside linebacker, at 90, Cassius Howell would be a right end, at 88, and then Tyler Onyedem, a defensive tackle, will be an 88 overall. Notre Dame's top 3 offensive players would be Jeremiah Love, I think a lot of us could have predicted that, at halfback, at a 95, Emil Wagner, a right tackle, at 91, and Malachi Fields, a wide receiver, at 91 overall. And then on the defensive side, Leonard Moore, a corner, at 93, Drake Bowen, a middle linebacker, at 90, and Christian Gray, an 87 overall corner. Coming down to the last few teams here, we go to Oregon. On offense, they have Mekhi Hughes, a halfback, at 92, Evan Stewart, a wide receiver, at 91, and Isaiah World, a left tackle, at 91. And then on defense, they're going to have Dylan Thinneman, a strong safety, at 93, Mateo Ugalele, a 91 overall right end, and Theron Johnson, a corner, at 89 overall. Penn State's top 3 guys would be Nicholas Singleton, a halfback, at 93, Drew Alar, a QB, at 92, and Katron Allen, a halfback, at 92. And then on defense, they would have Danny Dennis Sutton, a left end, at 92, AJ Harris, a corner, at 91, and Zane Durant, a defensive tackle, at 90. For the Ohio State, their top 3 guys would be Jeremiah Smith at a 98, Carnell Tate, a wide receiver, at 91, so that's a crazy wide receiver combo there already. Max Clare, a tight end, at 91. And then on defense, you have Caleb Downs, a free safety, at 96, Davison Igbinuson, a corner, at 90 overall, probably messing that up, apologies, Sonny Styles, a right outside linebacker, at 90 overall. Alabama's top 3 offensive players would be Ryan Williams at a 95, Caden Proctor at a 94, Jaden Roberts, a right guard, at 92. And then on defense, you'd have Tim Keenan III, a defensive tackle, 92 overall, Ray Hubbard, a strong safety, at 91, and Deontay Lawson, an outside linebacker, at 91. Georgia's top 3 guys on offense would be Oscar Delp, their tight end, at 90, Ernest Green III, a right tackle, at 89, Zachariah Branch, the wide receiver, at 88 overall. And then on defense, you'd have Christian Miller, defensive tackle, at 92, CJ Allen, a middle linebacker, at 91, and KJ Bolden, the free safety, at a 91. And then the last team on ESPN's top 25 list would be Texas. Their top offensive defensive players would be Contravion Wisner, the halfback at a 91, DJ Campbell, the right guard at 90, Arch Manning, the QB obviously at 90 overall. And then on defense, Anthony Hill Jr., the middle linebacker at a 95, Colin Simmons, the right end at 93, and Malik Muhammad, a corner at 92. I know that was a lot of teams to run through, but I would just say lastly, I was really curious on how some of the biggest freshmen were rated this year. And some I've slightly touched on a little bit in this video, but there are some major impact players that'll be freshmen in college football 26, and I want to kind of take a look at their overall ratings here. For Michigan, Bryce Underwood is going to be an 81 overall. Alabama's QB Keelan Russell will be an 80 overall. Oregon's wide receiver DeCorian Moore will be an 84. Oklahoma's offensive tackle Michael Fasusi is going to be a 79 overall. Texas Justice Terry, the defensive tackle, will be an 80. Colorado's QB Julian Lewis, who maybe starts, maybe he sits behind Caden Salter, we'll see, is a 79 overall. Ohio State's Devin Sanchez is not currently listed in this version of the roster that they ultimately had on the website, so I don't know if that means that maybe he's just not inputted in yet, or maybe he hasn't signed his deal yet, but we'll figure that out a little bit later. LSU's corner DJ Pickett is going to be an 80 overall. USC's defensive end Jakeem Stewart, same thing as Devin Sanchez, wasn't in this version of the roster. Not sure if he's signed yet, not sure if they just haven't inputted him yet, but he's currently not there. Clemson's running back Gideon Davidson is an 83 overall. Texas wide receiver Khalil Lockett is an 81. And K-State's tight end Lincoln Cure is an 81 overall. We covered a ton of ratings today, but what do you think that EA got right? What do you think they got wrong? And assuming these leaks are obviously accurate, what player are you the most excited to run with when College Football 26 releases this July? Let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this content, as I've got way more coming soon. Be safe, be smart, tell somebody you love them. Catch you guys on the next one.